me okay? Great, okay. I'm not President Trump or Judge O, so I'm gonna keep my mask on. First of all, I never got a chance to work with Jaden, but I learned a lot from her. And one of the biggest things I think everybody in drug court can learn from Jaden is to learn how to speak your mind and be direct. That's one thing that she has in spades, and I think that's going to serve her well. So let's give her another round of applause. And where's Vanessa at? There she is. Never worked with Vanessa. I only work with the guys. But I can tell you hands down, I've been here almost as long as Judge O, and I've never seen a community service project presentation as great as what she gave, with heart and soul and determination. That was outstanding. Yeah. Let's give her a hand. And then Brody, although he doesn't know it yet, I'm going to use what Brody taught me in my keynote presentation today. Brody, let's just continue to grow, and let's all learn from bro. That's what his friends call him. Give him a hand. Okay, so one of the things I get asked a lot, people talk about, you know, what mentoring is, and there's all kinds of things for it, but I tend to hear the same thing from kids all the time. I can't wait till I get off probation. I just can't wait till I get my freedom back. And it's interesting when I start to ask them the questions about what freedom actually is. And most of them always answer it the same way. It's doing what I want to do. Now, where does that work in the world anywhere? Anybody over 18 here seen that work? Right? So I let them define that, and then as much time as I get to spend with them, I get to point out how they're not managing their freedom well. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I do on behalf of the courts and probation, Mr. Christensen, and the treatment providers, is I get them to understand that we are on the same page with them. We want to give them their freedom. We just want to make sure they learn how to manage it. Mm-hmm. No one's trying to take it away from you. We're actually trying to give it back to you. And so before I get to the first part of my keynote, I want to give you a story of the Hughes brothers. It's a 3-4 minute story. It's a sad story, but it's a happy story. When I was 22 years old, I lived right across the street from 3 young men. They were mixed, half black, half white. Their mom had made a lot of bad decisions, and one of those ended up being her boyfriend. Now, these 3 young men, who when I met them were 14, 11, and 8, used to run over to our house. We lived in inner city, Kansas City area. It's a very rough neighborhood. And all of us played basketball. She had a 6'4" guy, 6'5" guy, and a 6'2" guy. And it was our routine that when the kids came over, we would go chase her boyfriend, who just beat her up. So that was kind of the routine. And after we got done chasing him, he would always come back. It was a cycle. You'd call the cops. But what I watched over the next 15 years with these 3 young men that I mentored was not a happy story for all of them. The first one, the youngest one, when he got to be about 13 years old, he started to break in our house and steal our stuff. The second oldest one, who still couldn't quite manage his freedom, he started to join gangs. The last one actually listened, and his life turned out where he's a father, he's a business owner, he's successful. 3 people, the same situation, nothing changed in the household, but their minds changed. See, when we talk about cognitive change and getting you guys to manage your freedom, that's all we're after. The first one died, got stabbed multiple times. His name was Sean Hughes. I was very close to him. He was a mechanic. The second one is still in prison for murder. The third one is living his life fulfilled and happy. Met them when they were 9, 11, and 14. And that's why I started mentoring. because I've seen the power of people's lives being changed, but I've also seen the power of people's lives getting worse. In life, kids, you never stay in one place. You're usually getting better or you're getting a little bit worse. And you know that to be true. And so I want to borrow some things from the person who helped me with my keynote a year ago, though he doesn't know it, Brody. One day, Brody and I just had smoothies and we'd just been eating, and we had talked before about responsibility, and I broke that down for him. I said, responsibility is the ability to respond. And in life, there's going to be so many things thrown at you, you're going to have to respond to it. We're responding with masks and social distancing. Life's going to throw a lot of things to you. And I said, Brody, I want you to think about that. I want you to come up with your own personal philosophy, something that you can live by. Because I'm telling you stuff, the judge is telling you stuff, CJ's telling you stuff, the treatment providers are telling you stuff. So I want you to tell me something. Now, one thing that's interesting, if anybody knows Brody, kind of drags his feet on things, you know? Doesn't tell you right away. You kind of have to pull it out. But on this particular day, on our very next session, Brody looks at me and he said, I'm going to teach you something today. I said, really? You're going to teach me something? He says, yeah, I'm going to teach you something. Here's my philosophy in life, and you should remember this because you said you're going to live by it. In life, you have a responsibility for three things: your family, your future, and yourself. Do you remember that, Brody? Are you still living by that? All right. So when I say let's grow from grow, I actually really believe that. Every single one of us, when we make decisions, we can learn from this drug court participant. We can take a moment to pause and ask, is this good for my family? If not, you probably should do it. Is this good for my future? If not, you probably should do it. Is this good for me, for myself? As much as I try to teach and encourage kids and motivate them, there are times when I'm motivated by you guys. It's now your chance to go and take all the lessons you've learned from drug court, from your treatment providers, from your parents bearing patiently with you, and go out and become leaders, influence your friends, navigate life. Don't go back to the same stuff just because you're no longer supervised. There's going to be a temptation to take your freedom and use it in a way that's only going to get you in worse trouble down the road. And we've had graduates do that before. But I am confident that you are different. I'm confident that this group is special. I'm confident that you will put in place so many lessons learned from the years you've shared with us. And I salute you guys today. Today, all of you are my mentors. Thank you.